What's up, Broncos fans? Sam Brown here. We're going to get into the latest Denver Broncos rumors here in a sec. But before we do, I want to get you guys throwing your questions in the comments. Had some great ones on our mailbag video last week, and I want to keep it going. So use hashtag Broncos in the comments. You can ask me about the draft, free agency, anything Broncos related. I just want to hear from you guys. So use hashtag Broncos in the comments. And without further ado, let's get into today's show. Sam Brown here, host of the Broncos Breakdown. Be sure to subscribe down below, chatsports.com/Broncos TV. We got some draft and some trade rumors to throw your way here. And I want to start by talking about Mr. Mel Kiper Jr. You guys know him. You guys love him. He released his first mock draft yesterday and had the Denver Broncos taking Micah Parsons with the number 9 pick in the draft. The linebacker out of Penn State, middle linebacker probably in that 3-4 defense. Very athletic, blitzes the ball well. Can improve some in coverage. You know, Tom Downey's player comp for this guy kind of reminds him of Jalen Smith, the Dallas Cowboys linebacker. And there are some character concerns that have emerged with him recently, which is obviously something to keep track of over the weeks and months to come during the draft process. It'll be interesting to see how he interviews with teams, given those concerns, and obviously the teams will be willing to address those concerns with him. My mindset here is, I think if Parsons is there at 9, you take him. But do your research first, you know. Like I said, the interview process is going to be huge for really finding out about his character, you know. There were concerns about hazing whenever he went to Penn State, just overall maturity concerns about whether he was ready to be the linebacker of the future. And that's huge for a player of his position, you know, as a middle linebacker, being able to be the leader of the defense. If players on your side aren't respecting you and don't respect you as a leader, that's not going to do you much in the long run. And I love Micah Parsons as a player. Over 100 tackles in 2019, obviously opted out of the 2020 season, but 5 sacks, had some PBUs as well. He's just a great run stopper, a great tackler, and would fit really well in that middle linebacker role. Now, obviously, like I said, the interview process will be huge for Micah Parsons. I think regardless, though, I think you draft defense if you stay at number 9, just because there's going to be a run, I think, on quarterbacks early in the draft. And when you think about needs on offense for the Broncos, there aren't any really sure prospects at number 9 when you talk about, in my opinion, maybe shoring up the interior offensive line or getting a future right tackle. I think there isn't great value at number 9, but you've got 2 top-tier prospects in Micah Parsons and Patrick Surtain that would both be available potentially at number 9, or at least one of the 2. So Mel Kiper Jr.'s got the Broncos taking Parsons, but I'm curious to know what you think. If both of these guys were available at number 9, who would you take? Type MP for Micah Parsons, or you can type PS for Patrick Surtain. I'm not sure you could really go wrong either way here. I would probably lean Surtain just because cornerback is probably a bigger need right now, and there are some linebackers that you can find in round 2 or round 3 maybe that could at least be some short-term, or maybe it turn out to be a long-term starter at linebacker. But I think Surtain is too good to pass up. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments section. And I want to remind you guys to subscribe to the Broncos channel. We're just over 200 subs away from 1,000. I told you guys last week we're trying to become the fastest channel in Broncos history to get to 1,000 subs. And the clock is ticking. Everyone at the office doesn't think I'm going to do it, but we've got till Friday to get 216 subscribers and break the record. So help me out here, guys. Join the community, hit that big red button, and subscribe. All right, we talked about it earlier today, or the guys from NFL Daily talked about it the other day, but a Matthew Stafford trade. Is it time to bet on Denver? They are now the betting favorites, according to sportsbetting.com, to land Matthew Stafford in a trade. Obviously, the Detroit Lions and Stafford have mutually agreed to part ways this offseason after 11 years of Stafford in a Broncos uniform. And now the question is really, what is the price going to be to get him? You know, he has different values, or you can value him differently. I've seen packages including a first and a future second or something like that. I've also seen packages with a low-end first. You know, it's kind of hard to pinpoint where this is going to go, but sportsbetting.com loves the Denver Broncos. Look at them right there, plus 300. If you're a betting man, you probably know, like me, but that basically means you bet $100, you would win 300. It's a 3-to-1 payout of how much you put down. Then you've got the Colts at plus 400, Washington at 500, the Bears at plus 600. And if you want to lose $5 real quick, go ahead and bet on the Cowboys at 800. There's no chance Matthew Stafford lands in Dallas, but you know, Vegas loves to try. But I think Matthew Stafford would be a great fit in Denver. There's no doubt about it. A player of his caliber, obviously still showing he can throw the ball at a high level at 32 years old. The number 1 pick in the 2009 draft, a surefire prospect out of Georgia. My only concern is this, with George Paton wanting to make a big splash in his first offseason as the Broncos GM. Don't overvalue Matthew Stafford at the same time, you know? Obviously, he's still a good quarterback. He still has 2 years left on his deal at $43 million. And the Broncos right now are sitting just under $15 million in cap space. So that's a lot of money you're committing to the quarterback position and Matthew Stafford when you've got holes to fill at other positions. You know, cornerback is still in need regardless of whether you address it in the draft or free agency. Linebacker, the interior defensive line, like I said, the interior offensive line, potentially right tackle. You've got money that you might need to commit elsewhere to players like Justin Simmons and maybe Shelby Harris, maybe Von Miller, and that's a lot of money you'd be giving up for Matt Stafford. Now, in terms of a trade for him, I think the number 9 overall pick might just do it. And at that point, if you're George Paton, you're wondering, what do you need to improve more? Do you think quarterback is that much more of a position of need that you'd be willing to go out and ship your first-round pick in this year's draft for him when there is a player potentially like Micah Parsons or Patrick Surtain available on the board? It's a tricky situation to navigate if you're George Paton, and we'll be interested to see in what he does moving forward. But I want to end today's video with a question for you guys. Would you trade or keep the number 9 overall pick? If the Broncos make a move for a quarterback, the number 9 overall pick would likely have to be a part of that trade package. So if you would keep that pick, type K. If you would trade it, type T. I'm really interested to see what you guys think here. And so let me know in the comments section. As always, use hashtag Broncos in the comments. I want to hear from you guys and get your questions for a mailbag video. And be sure to subscribe down below, chatsports.com/BroncosTV, or hit that big red button.